My parents scoffed. You'll never measure up to your brother. I rose and retorted, let him handle all the expenses. My financial contributions cease. Mom gasped, what money? We've never seen a single penny from you. Have you ever given so much, poured your heart and soul, only to be told you're not as good as someone else, especially when you're the one secretly holding everything together? I thought my family loved me. But then, one night, at my mom's birthday dinner, a single, casual sentence shattered that illusion and set me on a path to uncover a betrayal that stretched back years. Start of story, my name is Max. I'm 28. For as long as I can remember, I've been the responsible one. The oldest son, the steady one, the guy who always has spare batteries and emergency cash in a Ziploc. I pay my rent on time. I show up early. I even bring folding chairs to family cookouts because, let's be real, we always run out. If you asked my parents to describe me, they'd say responsible. If you pushed for a second word, it'd be quiet. My younger brother, Cole, he's my polar opposite. He was the star of the soccer team, the one with that blinding smile that could charm free desserts from waiters. He was the son my parents loved bragging about. Every family update became a Cole highlight reel. New job, new car, a friend in real estate who knows someone huge. They'd say it like an incantation, proof that our family was doing fine because Cole was shining. I used to joke that I was the background music while Cole was the lead singer. But the joke stopped being funny around 22. That's when I was working double shifts, barely making ends meet, and still showing up at my parents' place to fix the Wi-Fi or replace light bulbs. Dad's back always hurt. Mom shouldn't be on a ladder. They never asked how I was. They just asked what I could do. 2 months ago, it was Mom's birthday dinner at their place. The house smelled of lemon cleaner and roasted chicken. Dad had on his good polo shirt. Aunt Rita kept fussing with the flowers, convinced it would make the room richer. I'd brought a carrot cake from the bakery, the one Mom loves, with the thick cream cheese frosting. Cole, of course, strolled in late. No dessert, no card. Just a charming grin and a story about almost meeting someone from a hot new startup. Everyone laughed like he'd just won the lottery. We sat down. Mom started opening gifts. A scarf from Aunt Rita. A candle from Dad's co-worker's wife. Then Cole handed her a small box. Earrings. Real silver, he winked. He didn't say who paid for them. Mom gasped, truly, like he'd handed her the moon itself. I don't know why I expected a thank you for the cake. That's on me. Then Dad refilled his wine, glanced at me, and just said it. You know, Max, you'll never be as good as your brother. He chuckled. A light, harmless chuckle. Mom chuckled too. The whole table joined in. Cole laughed the loudest. But I heard it differently. I heard a sentence, a verdict, not a joke. My fork clattered. My cheeks burned. Inside my head, I started counting. 11 months of covering their electric last year when Dad's hours got cut. 31 gas fill-ups after Mom's car needed a little help. 22 transfers labeled groceries because the fridge was empty and your brother is between paychecks. I counted it all, like breaths. Wow, Aunt Rita said, looking at me. Don't be sensitive, honey. I wasn't crying. I was stunned. Stoned. In that quiet, Mom added lightly. We just want you to be more ambitious, that's all. I reached for my water. The glass shook a little. My inner voice screamed, swallow it. Smile. Make a joke. Keep the peace. Because that's what I always did. But then Aunt Rita turned to Cole. You really are the man of the family, she gushed. Mom nodded, a small, proud smile on her face. A quiet laugh came from Dad's side. He's the one we can rely on. I don't know why that was the thing, but it was. The word rely landed like a brick in my chest. It hit the part of me that kept spreadsheets of due dates and bank transfers, the part that memorized account numbers, Wi-Fi passwords, and the exact model of their fridge filter. I didn't say another word. I helped clear plates, boxed leftovers, wiped the counter. When I grabbed my jacket, Mom hugged me without looking at my face. She whispered, try not to be jealous of your brother. On my way out, Cole clapped my shoulder. Don't take it personal, man. Outside, the porch light flickered. I stood under it, keys in hand, listening to their laughter through the window. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Mom. We love you. Bring paper towels next time. We're out. No heart emoji. No thank you. Just a list. I drove home in silence. I put the half-eaten carrot cake in my fridge. I I sat on my couch and stared at the receipts folder in my email, a collection I'd been building for years, like some weird, painful hobby. Little green check marks. $80, $115, $400, $900. It all blurred together. The next morning, Dad called. Left a voicemail. "Hey, kiddo, don't be dramatic. Family jokes." I played it twice. Then I opened my banking app. And I scrolled, and scrolled, and scrolled. That night, the realization hit me like a ton of bricks. The joke was on me. And in the middle of that painful realization, while I was checking the date of a transfer labeled Utilities, my screen lit up. A group chat notification. "Family dinner Sunday, 6 p.m. Don't forget," Mom wrote. I stared at the words for a long, long time, and felt something inside me finally tilt. The money started when I was 21. I thought helping out was what good sons did. Dad called one January after a snowstorm. "Power bill's a little high this month. Can you spot us $120? I'll pay you back Friday." He didn't pay me back Friday, or ever, but he did ask again in February. "We're short on gas money. Just until payday." Then March. "Groceries. Your mom's trying to stretch it." I was working at a tech support desk, making $17.50 an hour. Living in a studio apartment with a wobbly table and a couch I found on Facebook Marketplace. I didn't have much, but I could spare $50 here, $75 there. It felt good to be useful. I told myself I was building trust. By 24, it wasn't spot us anymore. It was routine. Every first of the month, $300 for utilities. Every third Sunday, $80 for gas. Random Wednesdays, $40 to $100 for groceries. It added up to roughly $650 a month. For almost 4 years. Some months, even more. When their car needed new tires, $480. When their water heater broke, my card for a $250 deposit that somehow became $250 plus $250 plus. We'll square it later. And then there were Cole's emergencies that weren't really emergencies. He needs $200 to register for a certification exam. His landlord's being a jerk. "Can you cover half his rent for this month?" He had a slow month with freelancing. Cole always had a story. I always had a transfer. We never talked about paying me back. It was always implied. Everything was implied in my family. Help, gratitude, debt. Nothing was written, but it was all recorded in my app. I tried to set boundaries once. I told Mom I couldn't send money until I refilled my savings. She sighed. "We'll die before we ask you again." That promise lasted 2 weeks. She texted a grocery list and a heart. I sent $100. I sent it because I knew what an empty fridge feels like, and because she always used that worried voice, saying, "Just this once," the one that opens your wallet. It wasn't just money. It was time. I fixed their Wi-Fi, installed a thermostat, replaced a bathroom faucet after watching 3 YouTube videos. I drove Cole to interviews. I edited his resume. I even let him use my address when he didn't want to keep moving his mail. Packages started arriving with his name on them. Sneakers, a drone, a gaming headset, while Mom texted me photos of the empty pantry. Whenever I mentioned being tired, Dad made jokes. "That's adulthood, kiddo." Whenever I brought up fairness, Aunt Rita would say, "Families aren't ledgers." Except in our house, the ledger lived in my pocket. The favoritism wasn't subtle. If Cole showed up with takeout once, Mom called him generous for a week. If I covered 2 months of their power bill, she'd say, "We're all doing our part." On Father's Day, I booked a dinner for the 4 of us and paid the check. "You shouldn't have," Dad said, and then turned to Cole to ask about his big plans at a company where he didn't actually have a job yet. The worst part was how they rewrote things in real time. Thanksgiving last year, Aunt Rita asked who helped with the water heater. Mom smiled at Cole. Our boy made some calls. I looked at my bank app under the table. Plumber deposit, $250. I said nothing. It's easier to be quiet than to be called dramatic. Meanwhile, my own life was just small. I wasn't struggling, not exactly, but there was always that one bill I'd push a week. That one dinner I'd skip with friends because I'd just sent $200 at 3 p.m. for urgent car insurance. My savings plateaued. When my coworkers planned a weekend trip, I pretended I had other plans. I didn't. I had a spreadsheet. I used to think maybe they didn't know, that the details were fuzzy in their heads. But they knew. They knew because Mom would say things like, "You're so dependable," and then follow it with, "Since you're so good with money." Dad would call on payday and just check in. Cole would text, "You're a lifesaver, man. I'll pay you back when my commission hits." No commission hit. New sneakers did. 3 moments stood out. First, the Christmas where I gave Mom a weighted blanket. She hugged me like I'd handed her a towel at the gym. Cole gave her a spa voucher he got free through a friend. She cried. At the end of the night, I found a sticky note on the counter. "Max, could you Venmo $150? We're short on rent." Second, the time my car needed brakes. I had to choose between paying my mechanic or sending $220 to my parents for overdue electric urgent. I paid theirs. 3 weeks later, Mom posted a photo from a restaurant on Facebook. Much needed date night. I zoomed in on the wine glasses until the pixels broke. Third that night, the lemon cleaner. The "you'll never be as good" laughter. The word rely, like a brick in my chest. That night, after their group chat pinged me about paper towels, I scrolled back to the first transfer I ever sent. January 14th, 2019. $120. The note said, "Just until Friday." I added it all up. I got to $28,940 before I stopped. I didn't count cash receipts, gas fill-ups, or the AC repair I put on my card for points I never even used. $28,940. That's a new car, or a down payment on a house, or a cushion big enough to sleep on without waking up in a panic at 3 a.m. I thought about printing the list. I thought about blowing up the screenshots. I didn't. I made tea. I sat with the quiet. I tried to name the thing I felt. It wasn't anger, not entirely. It was depletion, the sound of a dry well. When Dad's voicemail came the next morning, family jokes, I realized this wasn't a joke. It was a system. They were the storytellers, and I was the supply line. And because systems keep running until someone pulls the plug, the next text came right on time. "Cole, hey, you around? I'm $400 short on rent this month. I'd ask Mom and Dad, but they're tight. I'll hit you back when I can. You're the best." He added a flex emoji. I stared at the screen for a long time. I typed, "Let me think." I erased it. 2 days later, Mom texted, "We need you Sunday." Dad looked at the bills, and it's not pretty. "Bring your checkbook." Smiling face with smiling eyes, "Bring your checkbook." I screenshot it. I didn't reply. I took a day off work and opened a blank document. At the top, I wrote, "Transfers." I listed dates and amounts for 2 hours. I printed it. 9 pages. I put them in a cheap binder from the dollar store. I didn't know if I was going to use it, but I knew, right then, that I was done pretending this was air. Sunday came with that heavy, pre-thunder heat. I parked 2 houses down and carried a grocery bag, because showing up empty-handed is how you lose the argument before it starts. Inside, paper towels. I rang the bell. Dad opened the door like a principal. Mom was at the table with a calculator and a stack of envelopes. Cole leaned on the counter, scrolling his phone. Finally, Mom said brightly, "We were just talking about our plan." "Great," I said, and set the bag down. Dad tapped the calculator. "We've been doing the numbers. With interest rates and inflation, we need a family approach. We're thinking everyone contributes monthly until things stabilize." "Everyone," Cole echoed, not even looking up from his phone. I pulled out the binder and placed it on the table. "Before we talk about a plan," I said, my voice steady, "can we talk about the last 4 years?" Mom blinked. "What's that?" "Receipts," I said. "Money I've sent for utilities, groceries, car repairs, rent. All of it. I might have missed a few." Dad's mouth tightened. "Max, this is not the time to play accountant." "It's exactly the time." Mom reached for the binder, flipped a few pages, and frowned. "What money? We never received a single dollar from you." The room went quiet. Not the quiet of thinking. The quiet of gaslighting dropping like a fog. I didn't raise my voice. I slid my phone across the table. Opened my bank app. The transfers are there. Notes, dates. If you want, I can print statements. Dad pushed the phone back like it burned him. "This is disrespectful." "What's disrespectful is rewriting my life while asking for my checkbook," I countered. "I've covered bills since 2019. I could list them one by one, but you can read." Cole finally looked up. "Dude, why are you making this weird?" "It's family." "Exactly," I said. Family doesn't deny reality when they're caught. Family says, "Thank you." Mom's eyes flashed. "After all we've done for you, the greatest hits album, you're going to throw money in our faces?" "I'm not throwing it," I said. "I'm acknowledging it." I took a breath. My hands were steady. You've depended on me for years. You've called me dependable, and then laughed about me being quiet while assigning me the bill. Today, I'm not quiet. Dad leaned forward. So what do you want? A parade? A medal? I want boundaries, I said. No more monthly transfers. No more emergency Venmos. If you need help, you ask in advance, and you accept no for an answer. Cole scoffed. Then tell him to pay all the bills, I said, turning to Dad. If I'm never as good as my brother, let the golden child be the safety net. Mom stood up. How dare you pit brothers against each other? I'm not, I said calmly. You did that a long time ago. The air felt heavy. My heartbeat didn't. It felt slow and even, like a metronome. I thought I would shake. I didn't. This isn't about revenge, I added, my voice low. This is about closure. Dad's jaw worked. So you're cutting us off? I'm ending a system that's been bleeding me dry, I said. I'm not your bank. I'm your son. Mom stared at the binder like it might bite her. We never asked you to. You exaggerated. Those were gifts. You love us. I do, I said. And loving you cannot mean bankrupting myself, financially or emotionally. Cole laughed once sharp. Whatever, man. I picked up the binder, slid the paper towels across the counter, and headed for the door. Max, Mom called. Don't walk away. You can't just. I can, I said, my hand on the knob. And I am. I stepped into the heat. The door closed behind me like a full stop. My phone started buzzing before I reached my car. 12 missed calls. Then 18. By the time I pulled into my apartment lot, 31. I put the phone face down on the counter and made pasta. I ate standing up, staring at the binder like it was radioactive. When I finally checked my phone, I had 47 unread messages. Mom, you're confused. Come back and talk this out. Dad, you owe us the respect of a conversation. Aunt Rita, money isn't everything, sweetheart. Cole, you really think this makes you the hero? I didn't reply that night. I turned off notifications, cleaned my sink, and went to bed at 9:30 p.m., like the most boring rebel alive. I slept 8 hours for the first time in months. Monday, the narrative machine started. A cousin texted, heard you blew up at dinner. You okay? My grandmother left a voicemail that had 2 full minutes of sighing. Dad wrote a group message about entitlement and forgetting where you came from. Mom posted a Facebook status about kids these days with a praying hands emoji. I expected anger. What surprised me was the revised history, immediately, like a live show with the wrong script. Messages shifted from, we never received money, to we never asked for money, to those were gifts, to you never said it was hard. I took a screenshot of each version, not to send, just to keep myself from doubting my own memory later. At work, I backed up the binder as PDFs. And then I did something small that felt huge. I opened my bank app and canceled 3 recurring transfers: utilities, gas, groceries. The app asked, are you sure? I hit yes. My chest felt both empty and light. The calls kept coming. Mom alternated between sobbing and sounding like a customer service rep. We can start fresh, she said on one voicemail. Let's just agree on a number. Maybe $300 a month. Dad tried logic. We're a unit. Everyone does their part. Cole sent me a Venmo request for $400 with the note, rent. Last time, I declined it. He sent a question mark. I didn't answer. Midweek, Aunt Rita invited me for coffee. Not an ambush, I promise. It was an ambush. She opened with a hug that smelled like powder, then launched into a speech I'm pretty sure she rehearsed in the car. Let's not burn bridges over a misunderstanding. What misunderstanding? I asked. She smiled. The way people smile when they think you're 5. You embarrassed your parents. They feel attacked. They felt attacked by math, I said. She sighed. You know your mother. She worries. She says you didn't tell her you were keeping track. So gratitude only counts if I don't keep a receipt? I asked. Got it. She blinked. You're being unkind. I'm being accurate. I paid for my own coffee and left before she could turn accuracy into cruelty. By Friday, the tone changed. The group chat pinged with family meeting Sunday. I typed, I won't be there, and sent it before the fear could edit me. Mom replied instantly. You think you're better than us now? Dad added, don't forget who raised you. Cole texted, you've always been jealous, bro sad. I muted the chat. I made a grocery list with exactly what I wanted. Berries, pasta, salmon, a kind of yogurt I usually skip because it's not necessary. I bought it. I ate it with a spoon the size of my new boundaries. Little practical changes followed. I set up a savings transfer with the same dates and amounts as what I used to send them. Watching $300 slide into my own account on the first of the month was like unlocking a window. I booked a dentist appointment I'd been putting off. I called a therapist and said, I need help untangling guilt from responsibility. She said, that's a job I do a lot. At night, the temptation to explain buzzed in me like a mosquito. To send a long, calm message with screenshots and numbered lists and I statements. I didn't. Explaining to people committed to not hearing you is performance art. I didn't have the energy. Still, it hurt. The ache surprised me. I missed the version of our family I kept trying to build with my money and my silence. There were good memories threaded in there. Mom's chicken noodle soup when I was sick. Dad teaching me to change a tire. Cole and I laughing at stupid memes. It's easier to keep paying a tax when you call it love. 2 weeks in, the calls slowed. The guilt didn't disappear, but it got quieter. Then the spin went public. A neighbor sent me a screenshot of Mom's post. Raising kids is hard when they forget your sacrifices. Some people think everything is about money. Comments poured in. Prayers. Stay strong. Kids these days. Cole posted an Instagram story of his new sneakers with the caption, self-made. I almost laughed. I started running again. Not to be dramatic, but my body needed somewhere to put the tension. 3 miles, then 4. I listened to a podcast about boundaries. The host said, say no without a paragraph. I practiced in the mirror. No. It felt like a secret language. The third Sunday, the day I used to send gas money, I drove past my parents' house. Old habit. I parked a street away and sat there like a ghost. Through the window, I could see them around the table. My chair was empty. I felt loss and relief braided together. That makes its own kind of grief, I guess. The next day, a new number called. It was Dad's coworker's wife, the one who gave Mom the candle. Your parents are under a lot of stress, she began. Could you? No, I said. Silence. You didn't even let me finish. I didn't need to, I said. No, wasn't mean. It was a full sentence. I hung up and felt okay. A week later, I got an email from a collections company addressed to my parents, but sent to me because my address was still on some old form. Past due, $312. A year ago, I would have paid it quietly. I forwarded it to Mom and Dad with the subject line, this is your bill, not mine. Mom replied, why are you being cruel? I typed and deleted 20 versions of I'm not. I closed the laptop. I went for a run. When I got back, there was one more email in my inbox. Not from my parents. From Cole. Subject, be real, buddy. We all know you like holding this over us. You always wanted to be the hero. Congrats, you win. I stared at it and felt the anger finally show up. Not loud, just sharp. I replied with one sentence. I wanted to be your son. He didn't write back. That night, I set a new rule that sounds silly written out. I will not open the banking app after 9 p.m. There is nothing in there that can fix my family at 9:01. I put my phone on the other side of the room. I slept. Here's what I know now. I can love my family and still refuse to finance their denial. I can be dependable without being a doormat. I can say no and not add a paragraph to make everyone else comfortable. I don't owe anyone my exhaustion. I don't owe anyone my savings. I don't owe anyone the version of me that makes their lives easier at the expense of my own. I'm not sending money anymore. Not because I'm angry, though sometimes I am. Not because I need them to suffer. I don't. But because I'm done pretending this is normal. If they ask for help in good faith, clear, specific, with respect, I'll decide case by case. If they try to guilt me, rewrite history, or make my boundaries the problem, the answer is simple. No. The binder is in my closet. I don't look at it often. It's not a trophy. It's a record. A reminder that I'm not crazy. When doubt creeps in, I flip to a page, read a few lines, and then close it. I don't need to keep tallying. The math already did its job. Mom and Dad still text sometimes. They send photos of the dog. They don't say thank you for the years I helped. Maybe they never will. That's their story. Mine is different now. It starts with, my name is Max, but it doesn't end with reliable. It ends with self-respect. I'm building a new routine. Sunday mornings are for runs and pancakes. The first of the month is for moving money into my own savings. The third Sunday is for calling a friend and making plans I don't cancel. The binder stays shut. If I had to put it in one line, the line I wish someone had given me at 21, it would be this. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. And here's my final promise to myself, simple and solid. I won't let anyone turn my love into a bill. Call to action. It was a tough journey to get here, and I'm still figuring things out. I'm curious. Have any of you ever had to draw a line in the sand with family over money or expectations? How did it go for you? Share your stories in the comments below. I'd really love to hear them.